Hi, today we're going to be talking about gratitude and how to receive gifts from our spouse and our family. What do we do if we get a gift that we just don't like? Stay tuned.
You don't want to miss it. You're listening to Marriage Mania, where we are audacious, sagacious, and tenacious for the Lord to uphold godly marriages and to raise fervent children who are countercultural and stand for biblical truth.
Hi, welcome back. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm Tanya.
And I'm Michael.
And today we're going to be talking about a topic about how to receive gifts from our spouse and our family, especially if it's a gift we just don't like. How do we appreciate a gift in that way? But before we get started, please subscribe here. It helps us to get the message out there. We want to be able to reach as many families as possible. And also, we wanted to let you know about our Bible studies. We do have a Bible study for a husband called The Covering, the Role of Biblical Husband. And we have a wife Bible study, The Helper, the Role of Biblical Wife. You can check those out at marriagemaniaministry.com. So let's get started. So Michael, let's talk about this topic because I've had a couple situations where in our marriage, maybe you've given me a gift and then how do I approach that? And, because a lot of times that can cause people to get upset, hurt and angry if we don't receive the gift in a right way. And also, I recently had some students tell me they didn't like a gift, but not specifically for students or anybody in general, but we're talking about more in our marriage and our families too. But this applies in any situation that you come across. So we just wanted to talk about that because it can relate to Christmas, birthdays, any special occasions, anniversaries, things like that. And so especially with someone you're living with all the time, you give a gift, you should know each other. How do you give a gift that you receive it, you don't like it, and how do you respond to it?
Right. And, first of all, we all want to live godly principles. We want to live out the Bible. We know God wants us to have a thankful heart. He wants us to enter into his presence with thanksgiving, with a thankful heart. He wants us in all circumstances, give thanks, for this is the will of Christ Jesus for you. So it's his will that we're just thankful in all circumstances, good circumstances, bad circumstances. In all circumstances, there's something that we can be thankful for, and he wants us to have that heart posture. That's where our whole outlook is, just a thankful heart. That when somebody looks at us, they say, wow, that's just a thankful person. That's just a person that just has gratitude. They're thankful for life. They're just thankful for the people that they're around them. That's you don't want to be around somebody that's just a very thankful person, and just sees the good and everything, the glass half full versus half empty. And you see that in Paul as a good example. It makes me think of him. He was just a very thankful person. In all his letters, he spends a lot of time thanking people that were involved in his ministry, thanking people that gave to his ministry, that gave to this big campaign to help the Israelites, the Jewish people in Jerusalem during a big famine. And that was a very important to Paul. And he spent a lot of time in his ministry gathering a lot of funds. And he was thankful for that. He spent time thanking people as an example to us. He was put in these letters in the Word of God as an example to us to be thankful. How do we receive gifts? We always hear it's better to give than to receive. And that's true. We want to be very giving people. God calls us to give. But when we're giving, somebody's also receiving that. And you can bless somebody in the way that you receive a gift. And so I think we need to be very cognizant about how we receive gifts and what kind of impression that is. We don't have to be disingenuous in a sense, but at the same time, is how we receive a gift. We receive it in a way that just shows that we have a thankful heart.
Yeah. Great points. And I love how you brought up Paul, because at the very beginning, like you said, he's like, and I thank God for you. I thank God.
Every time I remember you, I love that verse.
Every time I remember you,
I thank
God for you. And I've used those verses as, scripture for friends, saying how thankful I am for this person or that person. And I love that you brought that up because we should be so thankful that God has put us in this place, and also having the people around us and just being so grateful about that. And you give a gift, you're thinking of something, you're thinking that they might like it, but their reactions express differently. The way our tone, our manners, the way we carry ourselves can reflect like, I really don't like what you just gave me. Or actually being boisterous about it, like, I really don't like this gift. And I think that just crushes the heart, right?
It's
Like,
hurtful.
the
Yes.
words that we say should be uplifting. And I'm not saying that we need to lie about, like, okay, I just received a gift from you and I really don't like it. It's not an excuse for me to say, I don't like this gift. Like, I think we could just be respectful and honoring by receiving the gift, and maybe pray about doing something with it, or maybe regifting it, or doing something. But like, I don't feel like it's not necessary for us to hurt the other person. And I want to go back to an example.
Well, I want to say something real quick
Okay.
about on that topic.
Sorry.
If I could butt in here real quick, because I get it. We don't want to be disingenuous. Nobody
Right.
wants to lie, and flattery is not good either. But
No.
at the same time, there's things that we can be thankful
Mhm.
for and appreciative for. Somebody gave of their time, they
Mhm.
gave of their effort, their
Yeah.
money. We live in a very busy society, and people don't necessarily have a whole lot of money. People oftentimes go into debt. I mean, the average person spends, I think they say, 8 months paying
That's
off
crazy.
Christmas gifts.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
it's like, this person gave of their finances, they gave of their time, they gave of their
Mhm.
effort, they thought about you to even give you a gift. And so we can be very thankful for that. Thank you for remembering me. I really appreciate this gift. It's so
Mhm.
thoughtful that you gave it, and thank you so much. And we can always be thankful for something and have an appreciative heart for that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I also want to say that different people have different love languages, and sometimes the love language might be encouragement. The other love language might be gifts, and that's not my gift. I'm not huge on doing gifts, so I really personally have to go out of my way to really think hard in what can I do for this person that would make them feel special. Especially with my husband. Like, it's really hard to give you a gift because, we tend to.
Gifts are not very high on either one of our
I
love
know, but
languages. So I think it's okay if you mutually kind of agree that, gifts can be very simple,
yeah.
as long as everybody's kind of okay with that. I think that's what's a little different with spouses, because when you're a spouse, you can kind of and I think it's very helpful to teach the other person how to give a gift. Don't just get upset and leave the other person wondering why you're upset with this gift. I think it's okay to communicate. This is the way that I like to receive gifts. These are kind
Hmm.
of things that I
Hmm.
like in a gift. So the person
Hmm.
knows. And
Yeah.
then be okay with their effort, and be okay if it's not a
Hmm.
perfect effort, because that just might not be their gifting and being able to really give good gifts. But recognize the effort they put into it, that they did spend their time, they did spend their money, they were being thoughtful, and be respectful in how you maybe in the moment you just express gratitude in getting it, and maybe later at a time where there's good timing, you just kind of relate a little bit some more lessons on maybe before the gift of what you might want and the kind of
Hmm.
things you're kind of looking for in a gift, to kind of give them directions. I think we can do more of that with spouses. When it's just a friend, you do less of that,
Hmm.
and it's more of just whatever they give you. The fact that they just gave you something is special,
Hmm.
and we
Yeah.
need to be thankful for that. Even if we're looking at it, it's like, this is just not anything I can use, and that happens to all of us, but that's okay. be
Yes.
be You can be genuinely thankful for the time and effort they put into
Yes.
thinking of you for that. But I think there's a difference. That's the point I'm making. Between
Yeah.
you could be a little bit more open and honest with your spouse
Hmm.
about what's a good gift, but I still think we need to make sure we have a posture of appreciativeness and thankfulness for at least the effort. I thank you for remembering me, thanking for that, and appropriate levels of
Yeah,
thankfulness.
and you said that that's not like our gifting. to give gifts to each other. We do things more meaningful. And I would say, you've done a lot of meaningful things for me throughout our marriage, like writing letters and poems and just doing special things like the journal that you created. We did the gratitude journal where you wrote 365 days writing something grateful about me. And I thought that was very kind and loving. And so those are gifts I appreciate because they come from the heart. But I know at the beginning of our marriage, we tried to give each other different gifts. And I'll use the one example. It was the camera that you bought. So I think, what was it called?
The GoPro.
Yes, the GoPro. So you bought me a GoPro because I really wanted to have like a camera to
and
be able to
I really wanted a GoPro too, so I was going to borrow it. So
yeah, so like
along those lines too.
I got the gift and I was super excited for like a minute. I was like, I'm so excited about this. And I think my demeanor and everything kind of like reflected on you. And I was like, I think we should take it back. And that probably was not the best answer that I could have given. I was probably also thinking about the cost of it and also like, how am I going to use a GoPro? Like, what are we going to do with it? Like, it's not going to like, where are we going to travel with it? And all
I had
these
all
questions.
kinds of ideas of what we could have done with a GoPro.
Skydiving.
Yes. And
like,
since then we were just like, oh, I wish we had a GoPro for this. Oh, I wish we had a GoPro for that.
Right. But so I think my way of, and this is early in our marriage. So like, the way I received that was not very kind and loving. It should have been like, wow, you took a lot of time to think about how I appreciate taking pictures, and maybe I should have just taken it and we would have had it today and we could have used it whenever we've done some cool adventures. But
this is part of learning each other too, because very early on, I was like trying to love you in all the 5 love languages while still kind of learning. I knew what your love languages were, but what are the levels of the different love languages? Right. How important are gifts to you? And so I was always trying to like really work hard to give a special gift and something meaningful and significant, and so there was the GoPro there, and I think I gave you pearls one time because you were admiring some pearls at a certain point, and I was like, I picked up on that. It's like, man. She was like noticing the pearls on somebody. I was like, I'll get her some pearls, but she was like, yeah. So I just kind of it's because the gifts are just not our big love language, and it's like, just give me something simple, just something to show that you care. Just give me some flowers, give me a card.
I think
that's just kind of where we are, but there's others that gifts if they are huge, if that's their top love language, and you better be in tune to making sure you're getting the gift that says what it needs to say to them, whether whether it's something you need to make, whether it's the effort that's put involved, the meaningfulness that you noticed something in them, that they were dropping these little hints and you noticed that. It just kind of depends, if they're a person that their love language is the gift of giving, you really need to kind of be picked up on that. But the person that has the gift of gifts, for going back to receiving, if the other person's not perfect in giving those gifts, have a little understanding of somebody who doesn't have that special gifting from the Lord.
Yeah, I think everything you said is spot on for sure. And we just really need to know what our love languages are and the gifts that we want to give, so that when we do give gifts to our spouse, that we reflect that thankfulness, that gratitude, even if it's something that we didn't want or whatever. But also, I think we all, just because we don't do gifts, we do the meaningful gifts, we also want to be able to show our children how to receive gifts, especially when we're having like Christmas or birthdays or special occasions and we give gifts, and most children will just open the gift up and just throw it to the side. And one of the things that we have,
if they don't like it, just right in front of everybody, I don't like this.
Yes.
It just makes me cringe when I hear that, because I'm like, man, the person's right there who gave that to you, and you're saying, I don't like this.
Yes.
Like,
and so we want to, so we basically show our daughter like when you open a gift, I want you to stop and look at the gift. I want you to look to see that that person actually gave you something you asked for, and then just go over there and tell them thank you so much and give them a hug. And we've been doing that forever. I mean, I've done that in my family growing up. We would give each other gifts, and then we would give each other a hug, like thank you so much. That's just been something that I've grown up with. And I even do it with you, is like if you give me like a letter or something, of course we hug and we're like, oh, thank you so much. But for our daughter to learn to receive gifts is really important, because you don't want to go and just have your child say, I really don't like it, like you were saying, or just throw it to the side. It just doesn't seem as meaningful. And I feel like it just gives appreciation to the person that gave the gift if the child opens it up and says, thank you so much for whatever toy they received, or oh, thank you so much for my shoes. And I'm thinking about this because I just recently had some children that I tutor, and I pretty much put some popcorn and Oreos together in a bag for a treat, and I gave each of the children like a bag, and some of them were like, I don't like popcorn, I don't like this popcorn, oh, I don't like that gift. And I actually said, hey guys, I appreciate your honesty. I truly do. But I think the way you speak, it could be so hurtful. I'm okay, but I want you to know, like, when you're opening a gift from another student and you say this is a terrible gift, that is so hurtful. And I think you need to kind of tone it down and remain quiet and just be grateful. I mean, be grateful. You may not like the gift, but be grateful that that person went to the store, bought that gift, and put it in a package or whatever and gave it to you. And so that is the whole purpose here, is for us, when we receive a gift, we want to be grateful. We don't want to be people that are ungrateful for any gift that we receive. And so that is like the main point here, is truly talking about receiving and giving, and being grateful, and being grateful in your marriage,
Right.
being grateful to give each other something.
When it comes to children, we understand, children can be children, they're not
Yeah.
necessarily thinking about these things. And I know our daughter wasn't perfect, especially at
She's
first.
never perfect. We're
No,
not, we're
but
all of us are not
no,
perfect.
right. It's discipling our children's a process, and it's a
Yes.
constant process, and it's a constantly noticing what's going on with your children and adjusting to, like, okay, they're doing this. What do I do about that? Okay, no, now they're doing this. What do I do about that? So, we constantly need to be adjusting to certain things. But one of the things we need to be on is gratitude. And I think the way we can teach our children is, whenever we know we're going into a situation where the gifts are going to be exchanged, or they're going to receive gifts for birthday or Christmas or things like that, to go in saying, laying down some expectations. It's very helpful for kids to know what's expected. Hey, you're about to give some gifts. What kind of things are we going to say when you receive a gift? Oh, thank you. I really like this. This is exactly what I wanted. This is perfect. Thank you so much. And then go give them a hug. I just love the way your family is very expressive, and they
Yeah,
really model
very.
that very well.
I
When we go
love
over there
that.
for Christmas,
Hmm.
that we go around, and each person takes a turn opening their gift, and every single person, after they open the gift, gets up, walks all the way across the room,
Always.
gives a hug, and says thank you. I mean, that's just that's a great model. My family's a little less expressive with that. They're okay, but a little less expressive. But that's a great model for our
I
daughter.
think
And we
that's
try.
changing. Your family's changing, because we go and we hug people now. We're making the effort to
Right. I
go
guess my
and
point is this, though.
yeah.
There will be people that are more comfortable doing that, and others
Hmm.
that just kind of, they just don't have that in their background, their culture, their personality to be that expressive. But in whatever way that's comfortable with you, or even just get yourself out of your comfort zone a little bit by just taking notice on, how am I receiving a gift, and how can I bless the other person who's giving this to me, to show gratitude for that, and to
Hmm.
say something. Just, I always try to make the point, say something else besides just thank you, just a little extra. Thank you, this is exactly what I
Hmm.
wanted. Thank you, this is perfect. Thank you,
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
And especially if somebody made you a gift that probably needs a little extra thank you, because now they spent some extra time making something. So I think I don't know about you, but when I make something for somebody, I'm almost kind of looking for them to like really appreciate, oh wow, the time and the effort that
Yeah.
was put in to actually constructing a craft or something. It reminds me of Emerson Eggridge and the example he gave
Oh,
when his
yeah.
wife made him, I believe it was a jean jacket, and he
Yeah.
opened it up and he said, thank you. And then there was a pause, and then she was like, is
Okay,
there
what
more? And she got
else?
upset, and he was like, what's the problem? And he was like, where I come from, we say, thank you. This is awesome. Oh boy, oh wow, awesome, great, thank you. And he said, where I'm from, we say thank you. And that might be a difference in kind of background and culture and
Mhm.
things, but that created a situation, a conflict, a disagreement discussion in their marriage when it doesn't have to, when it's like, okay, somebody made something for me, click in our
Mm.
mind. I need to show a little extra. Let me put this on.
Yeah.
Let me see how it looks.
Mhm.
Oh wow, you made this for me. You took,
Mhm.
man, this must have taken you a long time to
Yeah.
make this, and the effort you put in. I feel so special that you would go out of your way to make something for me. Thank you so much, and then give them a hug. I mean, that little something extra takes no extra time or effort in life to do that, but the meaning that can give, the blessing you just gave to the gift you just gave to the other person by showing that gratitude is just enormous.
Yeah, I love that, and I love how you talked about my family because I do appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that we all hug each other, even if we're going across an entire room with papers and dogs and all this stuff. It's amazing. And I think my family, we've been doing it since I can't even remember, as long as I've been a young girl. I just know that if we don't do it, somebody's going to be offended because it's something that we do, right? And they would be like, you didn't give me a hug for the gift. Like, hey, what's going on? Something wrong? So, yeah, I think it's knowing your family, knowing your spouse, knowing your children, knowing how to give a gift and receive it. And that's just the point here of this podcast, is just really thinking about when you're giving a gift, and you're thinking about the other person, but how is the other person going to receive it, and is it going to hurt you? Or if you're the person that receives it, how are you going to react to a gift that you may not necessarily like? Being grateful, keeping Christ in the center when you're receiving that gift. Like, wow, I can't even believe I was even a thought in that person's mind that they would even give me a gift. So that is
We
things
shouldn't
to,
take any gifts for granted. Nothing, right? They don't have to
yeah.
give. Nobody has to give us anything, and the fact that they did, we should be grateful,
Yeah, but
and we should
we're
express that
on their
gratitude.
minds like, okay, I'm going to give Michael a gift, you know.
Yeah.
And I know for our marriages too, sometimes we could take each other for granted and not really do gifts, but I think we do need to do gifts for each other, even if it's just writing a letter, or depending on budgets and things like that. I know we try not to spend too much at Christmas, and we want to make sure that our child gets what she needs, and our family gets what they need first before we do. So we're okay with that. And that's something that you have to evaluate in your own family. But just taking that time to give a gift, appreciate that person, and also being a good receiver and receiving that gift from that person, and just being grateful that you were on their heart and mind, that they went out of the way to wrap a gift for you, to think about you on your birthday, or give you a Christmas gift, or whatever the occasion may be. And so, yes, that's the point here. And we hope that this was helpful just to talk through it, because some people are like, oh, I should say I like it, and I really don't. No, we're not suggesting you lie at all. We're suggesting to be grateful and to think about that person thinking of you, and so that way you can be a better receiver with a gift that you don't like. So
The gift of receiving. Just think of that. You
yes.
are giving a gift to someone else by how you receive that. And we need to be cognizant of that and just give them the gift of gratitude and thankfulness. And that's what the Lord is teaching us, so that we can have a thankful heart with him and all that he's done for us and Jesus dying on the cross. I mean, we should just be thankful. We go to church every Sunday in order to just express our gratitude for that. He wants us to have a thankful heart, and he wants us to build each other up as the body of Christ, to constantly encourage one another, to constantly thank each other. I think it's a good point to thank the pastor. Thank you for that message. That really meant a lot to me. And to thank the praise team. Oh, wow. That worship music, that was just awesome. Thank you. I love the song choices. I just loved how you led worship, and it was just so worshipful, and thank you. We need to express our gratitude. So those are gifts as well. They just gave a gift of their time and their effort to disciple you, to lead worship, to disciple you in a message. Take time to show some gratitude and give them the gift of that encouragement.
Yeah, this is awesome conversation that we just had, and I appreciate it. So please tune in every Tuesday as we talk about marriage and family and just topics that will help your marriage and encourage your marriage. We love to talk about discipleship to raise the next generation and be fervent for Jesus. And remember, we have Bible studies at marriagemaniaministry.com that will help strengthen your marriage and to see what God has in store for your marriage as you continue to seek him and as you continue to strengthen your marriage and family. And so tune in, give us a thumbs up. Until next time.
God bless.